And the king answered, "Yes, the decree stands, and it cannot be repealed." And they said to the king, "Daniel pays no attention to you. He prays 3 times a day to his God." When the king heard this, he was greatly distressed and determined to rescue Daniel, and made every effort until sundown to save him. And the men said to him, "O king, the law of the Medes and Persians cannot be changed." So the king gave order reluctantly, and they brought Daniel and threw him in the lion's den. And the king said to Daniel, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." Have mercy on me, O God. They're not coming at me. Oh Lord, these beasts, these lions, they are not attacking. Oh God, I need your help. In you I take refuge. In the midst of these lions and their tongues, they're like a sword. Their teeth are like spears. Is this the point of my death? Is this the day that I should die? I call upon your name, O Lord, from the depths of this pit. Hear my plea. Come near to me, O Lord. Take up my case and redeem my life. Remember me and show me your great mercy. It appears, Lord, that for the moment your favor is here. I need your favor all night, Lord. I need your favor tonight, Lord. For these beasts, I really do not want to be their meal, Lord. And my goodness, this place, it smells. All these bones of these, I should have been eaten by now, Lord. These lions have not eaten for 6 days. Those bones are... Oh. Oh. Okay. All right. I have a moment here. Your favor is with me. It's always been with me, Lord. It was with me the day that you brought Nebuchadnezzar, the great king, to Judah to punish us, to discipline us for breaking covenant with you. You sent that unbelieving nation to bring your hand upon your family because we had forgotten your ways and no longer followed you. Such is your way, O Lord. That day, they came and took me. I was but 15. And they carried me off with so many others to Babylon, the great city. We were placed, Lord, in your favor was with us, and I was placed with the chief of all the palace. And he told us that we were being chosen to be taught for 3 years all the knowledge of Babylon and the ways of Babylon. And He had great news for us, that we would be feasting from the table of the king. And as we were standing there, myself and my fellow peers from Judah, we looked at the table, and it was full of meats and wines, all of which had been sacrificed to the Babylonian gods. And in our hearts, we knew we could not partake in that and break covenant with God, just as our forefathers had broken covenant. We could not. Ashpenaz, he was the chief over all the instructions of my peers and myself, and he came to me and he says, "Why aren't you eating?" And I said to him, "Master, we cannot eat." He said, he was angry and he ordered us to eat, and I pleaded with him and I said, "We cannot eat because we have taken a vow and a covenant with our God." And he got angry and said, "The line of Judah is no more, and neither is that covenant. Your God did not protect you from the great Babylonian king, Nebuchadnezzar. But he didn't protect us because he was our disciplinarian." When Ashpenaz realized he wasn't going to persuade us, he begged us and said, "If you do not eat from the king's table, and I present you before the king in 3 years, your countenance will be less, your strength will be less than those of your peers, and then it is I who will suffer, and I will be executed." And I knew that fulfilling our covenant with God should not result in the death of him. So I proposed to him a solution. I said, "Give us 10 days. If you just feed us grains and vegetables and fruit and water, test it. If our countenance and our strength, if they do not equal our peers, we'll do as you wish." We found favor with him, and he granted us that favor. And for 10 days, all we ate was grains and fruit and vegetables and water. And after the 10 days, Ashpenaz was shocked to see that our countenance and our strength wasn't just the same, but it exceeded that of those of our peers. And thus he allowed us to continue. What was even greater, Lord, is your favor fell upon us, and we gained more knowledge and more understanding than even our peers. I myself, you granted me the ability to understand dreams and visions. And when we were presented before King Nebuchadnezzar after 3 years, and he tested us, he said of me, "There is none equal to me." And that is because of your favor. In that favor, Lord, I need tonight. Your favor is on me right now, Lord. But according to your great love, show me favor throughout the night. An angel. Wow. Are you Michael? Gabriel? I am so glad you are here. Praise be to God. Not on this day shall I see my ancestors. For you are favor to close the mouth of the lions. I shall not be gathered to my ancestors today. This isn't the first time, Lord, that your favor protected me from death as it is now, as you've closed the mouth of the lions. This isn't the first time. Of course, Nebuchadnezzar, the great king, you gave him dominion over the known world. He had subdued the Assyrians and the Egyptians and all the kingdoms in between, including your people, Judah. And yet, His greatest battle were none of those. It was the battle of his own heart and mind as he wrestled with you, God. Oh, that time where you gave him a dream. And that dream troubled him and tormented him. That dream of that big statue with a golden head, a silver chest, a midsection of bronze, and feet of clay and iron. And a big mountain where a big stone came from it and was thrown and crushed the statue. And that stone grew to fill the whole earth. He was troubled by it. So he called all the wise men of Babylon, the chief wise men of Babylon, and brought them into his court. And he said, I have been troubled by a dream, and I want you to interpret it. And they said to him, O great king, may you live forever. Tell us the dream and we'll interpret it. He said, no, you will trick me. If you can interpret the dream, then you will first tell me the dream without me revealing it. They were very upset. And they said to the king, no, just tell us. And he got more angry with them. And he says, no, you must tell me the dream. Finally, one of them said, King, there is no man that can do such a thing. And there is no king on this earth that would ask of such a thing. That made him even more angry. And he cast them out from his presence. And he ordered that all the wise men be killed in the land, which included me. The sword was about to come upon me. And your favor was there. When I heard the reason, I said to the chief guard, take me to the king, that I may interpret his dream and know his dream. And so he brought me to the King Nebuchadnezzar. And I said, O mighty king, may you live forever. Would you just give me some time that I may seek what the dream is? And he granted us a short period. I went back to my room and I gathered my friends and we got before God and we cried out all night for the Lord. And he granted us favor. He showed me the dream. I will never forget, Lord, the day I walked into that court and there was Nebuchadnezzar the great and mighty Nebuchadnezzar, who had subdued all the lands. And as I began to describe the dream, the look on his face, and I shared to him that this dream was of what was to come. And when he heard, he fell on his face before me, prostrate, and he granted me great responsibility and great riches. But while he was prostrate before me, he was not prostrate before you, O Lord. For he grew prideful from that, and arrogant. And you saw that arrogance. And you spoke to him again in a dream, warning him of his hubris. He did not listen. And he heard that dream and he brought me before him and says, this is the dream that I have. Would you tell me what it means? And I did not want to tell him, Lord, because the dream was a dream of discipline and punishment upon him for his pride. But he insisted, so I told him. And I told him the meaning of the dream was that God was going to remove his authority and cause him to go eat grass with the beasts because of his pride. And I pleaded with him that he would humble himself to God, but he did not. And about a year passed, and he was standing on his balcony, overlooking all of Babylon, and he said, O great, O Babylon, look what I have done and built with my hands, all for my glory and majesty. And as it was on his lips, a booming voice from heaven came down and said, Nebuchadnezzar, I am taking away your authority of the kingdom. So you will know that it is I, the sovereign Lord, that places men over kingdoms as I wish. It is I who give men authority over other men as I wish. And you will be driven from your people, and you will eat from the grass of the field. As soon as that was spoken, it came upon him, and the dew of heaven fell upon him, and he grew hair all over his body like it was feathers of an eagle. He grew claws in his feet and his hands, and he went and he roamed the fields like the beasts in the insanity of lycanthropy. 7 years passed. And finally, in the midst of his despair, in the midst of that place, he looked up to heaven. And he says, I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and glorify and honor the King of heaven. And he declared to all the kingdom that the King of heaven, the Almighty God, is just in everything he does, and all his ways are right. He humbled, and he's able to humble those who are prideful. Eventually, Nebuchadnezzar rested with his forefathers. You are able, Lord. You are able to deal with people. I have been righteous before you, Lord. I have served King Darius honestly. I have not stolen from him. I have sought to be wise and fair and just and merciful in all my actions. And yet, I am in the worst place in all of Babylon. I am in the pit of the lion's den. I am the one in the stench of death. And those who schemed against me, Lord, are feasting right now. Lord, those that would seek to dishonor you, they are the ones in good position. Lord, I don't understand your ways. I don't understand, Lord, why the wicked would prosper and the righteous would suffer. I don't understand that, Lord. I know this, Lord, that I am in the land of my forefather, Abraham. It is you, Lord, you who promised him that you would make him into a great nation. It is you, Lord, who promised that you would bless those who blessed us and that you would curse those who would curse us. And yet I'm in this place. Lord, those who schemed for my death, surely they have cursed me. I don't understand your ways. But I do know, Lord, that you are just. And even though I don't understand, all your ways are right. You were able to humble Nebuchadnezzar, Lord, and his heart turned towards you. But not all men do that. I can think of one. Well, Nebuchadnezzar, he was the great king. King Belshazzar was the foolish king. He was wicked in his ways, Lord. He was arrogant. Even as the armies of the Medes and the Persians surrounded Babylon, even then, he trusted in the walls made by men, that no one would breach these walls. He never thought of the thing that you made, the river. And it was his demise. On that night that the Medes and the Persians encamped around the city, Lord, Belshazzar decided to have a great feast, to eat and drink and be merry, and to rest in the belief that he could trust in the walls made by men. What made matters worse, Lord? He demanded that the cups and the furnishings that were brought back from the temple in Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar be brought in, and he drank libations before his god Moloch using the sacred furnishings. And as he did that, your great hand appeared and wrote on the wall a message. And the king, Belshazzar, became white as pale, and his knees knocked, and his legs gave way, and he was frightened. And he demanded that anybody in the room tell him what the words meant, and no one could understand it. But there was someone that said, "O great king, your father Nebuchadnezzar had an advisor. Send for him," he said. And so they sent for me. And as I came into that room and I saw those writings, you, Lord, revealed exactly what that message was. And I turned to King Belshazzar and I said, "King, this is what the Lord Almighty says. The days of your reign are numbered, and they end tonight. Your life has been weighed in God's scales, and it has been found wanting. And the Lord is going to divide your kingdom between the Medes and the Persians, and tonight